أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين. Dear sisters and brothers in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I mentioned in the first video message the example of Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salatu wassalam, where he changed his imprisonment into an opportunity for worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any distraction. He actually thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity. Using that example, we should also make the best of the lockdown situation. Forced isolation and lockdown helps us to understand the concept of i'tikaf in Islam. I'tikaf means secluding oneself in the masjid for at least 3 days with fasting. Our true essence is our heavenly dimension known as soul. However, it is surrounded with an earthly element known as the body. If the body and its associated desires are in obedience to the soul, a person progresses to higher spiritual levels. On the other hand, if the body and its desires dominate the soul, then he regresses to lower animalistic levels. The daily prayers and the annual fasting of Ramadan are ways of reminding ourselves of our potential and purpose of life, which is loosening the grip of this world and holding fast to the rope of the divine. However, sometimes there is a need to isolate ourselves from the people and the worldly environment in order to reflect on the main goal of our lives. Islam does not accept a monastic lifestyle where individuals go into a jungle or a mountain or a monastery for lifetime isolation. Islam only encourages temporary isolation in form of i'tikaf, in which one isolates himself or herself in a masjid continuously for at least 3 days and 2 nights in the state of fasting. Although i'tikaf can be done anytime, it is highly recommended in the middle of Rajab and in the last 10 days of Ramadan. I'tikaf cannot be done leisurely at a vacation property or at home. It must be done in a designated masjid. Of course, doing it in the great masajid such as Masjid al-Kufa or Masjid al-Nabi or Masjid al-Haram has its own special reward. In i'tikaf, one should spend time doing wajib and nafila prayers, reading the Quran and the du'as. You may also study religious and worldly issues which can help you gain proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the other hand, one must refrain from worldly activities. Now that we are in a lockdown situation, let us try to at least feel the flavor of i'tikaf by dedicating 3 days for spiritual seclusion at home. I'tikaf is a temporary isolation in order to refocus on our purpose of life and come out with enhanced spiritual energy to resist the evil within. Some people say that coronavirus has freed God from the confines of the mosque. However, this is a flawed mindset. It's important to keep in mind that our connection to Almighty God is not confined to a masjid or a sacred place. Enlightened souls realize the presence of God at all times, whether they are standing, sitting, working, driving, or lying down. Similarly, the connection to Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam does not depend on special occasions or sacred places. Nor is his power to intercede on our behalf limited to space or time. If our centers, mosques, and Imam Bargahs are closed, it does not mean that we are disconnected to the Imam of our time. Remember that the love for our Imam resides in our hearts. Talk to him and seek Allah's blessings through him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to gain the blessings from the month of Ramadan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.